And luckily, his wife, he married right before he became blind. His wife found him in the jungle and took him back again. And then later he came to Kantari. And in Kantari, he understood what we had done with our blind kids in Tibet, because our Tibet project is always a role model project for the Kantari participants to start and run their own social ventures. So he said, I want to carry this idea back to Uganda. And so do many, many other Kantaris as well, to Uganda, not only to Uganda, but also the Gambia, to Nepal, to Peru, to Thailand, to many, many places in the world. And then we thought, if they can do it, why can't we create a dream for Kerala blind people as well? Why not taking the philosophy of Tibet back to Kerala and start an adventure farm for learning, an empowerment center, where we empower the blind before they become disabled? Why is this so important? Because you Keralites, I must say, you Keralites, you love your kids so much that many, many parents of you start to confuse love with overprotection. And especially for blind kids, it's not only for blind kids, I know it for many sighted people as well, but especially for blind kids, this is something that disturbs their life, that disempowers them, because they will never be able to stand with confidence in front of a crowd of sighted people and say, yes, I'm blind. Because blindness is always seen as a limiting factor. Now, what we want to do, and we need your help, is we would like to start an adventure farm for learning, where these blind kids, just like the ones in Tibet, learn to jump, to swing from tree to tree, to go on ladders up the tree and cut a coconut to eat it or to drink it, to harvest the fruits and the vegetables, to cook on open fire, and very, very important, to learn how to swim. Kerala is built within and surrounding water, and many, many people don't know how to swim. And I tell you, swimming is such an easy sport to learn. And it's so beautiful. It's not dangerous at all once you know the techniques of it. Once you learn it, you will also enjoy it. It's not only a matter to prevent yourself from drowning, but you will learn how beautiful it is to actually swim without any weight, or almost weightless. And this is something that we want to bring to these blind kids. Taking a risk, learning how to live with nature, how to live with the environment, learning science and math within the environment, but also with languages, with Malayalam, with English and Hindi, learning through theater plays, through songs, through music. So this adventure farm for learning will not only be for the blind, you can visit as well. And you will see with all your senses that disability can become a possibility. And you will also understand that being disabled or being limited in whatever way, or just imperfection, is the mother of all invention. Thank you very much.
Hello, ma'am. My name is Leah Rose Courier, and it's glad to meet you. Ma'am, my question is, sometimes we take our eyesight for granted. Many times we do not enjoy the very beautiful things the world offers. Sometimes we do not even pause for a second to enjoy a flower or something about nature. But on the other end, we are very curious to see things of people getting beheaded, or maybe like people stabbed to death, etc. Sometimes we do not enjoy the other senses that we have, such as sometimes we do not enjoy the food that we eat. We will only come to know that the food is over when the YouTube video is over. So how beautiful, brightly beautiful is the world of darkness for you? Because when I close my eyes only for a second, I come in touch with myself. Or I experience the bliss or peace only when I close my eyes and sit in darkness. So how exactly the life of awareness, like touch, smell, taste, everything is for you, and how brightly beautiful the world of darkness is for you.
So one thing, when you close your eyes, the world is dark, right? When I close my eyes, the world is dark. But when I open my eyes, something happens in my brain, because the opening of my eyes is somehow connected to my visual cortex, and my brain immediately tells me the world is not dark. Now, an ophthalmologist would test me and probably would say, you are completely blind. There's no light and dark function anymore. But when I look around, I see you wearing various colors. Yes, and I do have the feeling that my life is absolutely not less, less pictureful. So therefore, please, when you meet blind people, don't instill this thought in them that life is dark. It's not. We have to trust in our abilities to imagine and to picture things. Just like when we are reading a book. And you know what happens when we are reading a book? For example, let's say our favorite book, and we have this picture of the beautiful characters and the beautiful landscapes, and then we go into the film. What happens? We are disappointed, right? Yeah? The blind, they will never be disappointed. And this is the beauty of being blind.
Ma'am, my name is Gopika.
Yes.
I would like to know, how do you teach children who are both blind and, who cannot speak also? I mean, who cannot hear, dumb, deaf and blind. Are there kids like that? Have you taught kids like that? Because it's more difficult to tell them what life is, what colors are, what things around them are.
Oh, yes. So there is a different disability, which actually is not deaf plus blind. It's a totally different disability, the blind-deaf population. There is a population in India, but there is not much statistic about it, because maybe they're hidden somewhere in the family houses. Yeah, and this is definitely very, very difficult. Not many people come out of their cages, inner cages also. Normally, however, the people first become deaf and then become blind. That's called Usher syndrome. We are going to guide a tour next year from Germany to Kerala, a tour of smells and touch and feeling and temperature. And since Kerala is the perfect place when you want to experience spices and smells and taste, we felt that this is the best place for people who cannot neither hear nor see. And we want to also let them touch an elephant, maybe ride on an elephant, and maybe touch a snake, which is not biting them. And so give them all kinds of tactile and olfactoric experiences. So definitely, yes, that's a different disability, which can be a possibility as well. But it always depends on the upbringing, and it always depends on the parents, and of course, it always depends on the surrounding, how empowering the surrounding is.
My name is Patrick. Yes. I was yesterday at your table, and I enjoy very much, and I have the chance already to speak to you. You give us an occasion to understand each other from the darkness and the light. But I would like to ask you something. You spoke about empowerment of blind before they are blind. And you spoke also about your fears, which is not so easy to speak about a fear. So I will speak about mine, which is also perhaps the fear of a lot of people here, is one day to be dependent from the other. Because today we are independent, and you know exactly that things of the day-to-day life you cannot do alone. So, sorry to say, but I would like you to teach us a little bit of empowerment before it comes. Thank you very much for your time.
Yes. This is a very important point Patrick made. One day, if we live just long enough, we will all be disabled in one or the other way. So we rather should now start to empathize and now start to understand what are the possibilities and not just look at the limitations. Now, I have a lot of examples of people who became blind at a later age, with 70 or 75, and some people are really frustrated and very, very depressed. And it depends a little bit on the person itself, whether they take it as a depression or as a point of depression, or whether they take it as a new start. I met one woman who became blind with 75, and she used to live already in an old age home and was okay with it. And then she became blind, and then she said, no way, this is a sign. She was very religious, but she said, this is a sign that I should change my life now. So she moved out of the old age home and started to learn how to cook as a blind person, how to garden as a blind person. And when her grandchildren came, she cooked for them, and she walked with a cane through the city of London, which is not so easy to walk around. And then when she was 80 years old, she went into a club, and she met a 90 years old, and they married. And they were very, very happy together. And I don't know if she is still alive, but I was so moved by her and by this story, where she said, my life as a blind person or as a so-called disabled person actually became more interesting. I think it's very often a question of personal attitude. Also, how you take the life changes and the fate.
Thank you for your questions. What does one say to such an inspiring story? I can only misquote Emerson right now. Tough times have a scientific value because those are occasions when a good learner learns and does not miss. Let's give a huge round of applause to Sabriet and Bakir. Thank you so much.